Greetings everyone, and Great here for another RA3 replay. Spawn on the bottom left side as the blue allies, we have RA3 Maniac. Spawn on the top right side as the red random Soviets, we have H2O God of War. We do have, looks like a barracks, walls, pretty standard. We'll probably see a bear into combat engineer. Over here we do got a doggy to play on the field. Will it be a dog eat bear world or will it be a bear eat dog world? Let's find out. We got two bears ported on out, which is good. It makes so the dog gets to bark off first. The other one, the bear can roar off summoning the dog. More dogs, 3 dogs deployed on the field. And this is not the capital wasteland. Combat engineers will go ahead and make it to the Oral Derrick, no problem. We got a couple of conscripts here as well. Allied player has claimed the Oil Derrick. And now we do have this dog that faces forward, just trying to scout forward. Up here, we do got the bear and the dog push his way forward. A sea dog and a sea bear. The best way to stop a sea bear attack is, of course, a circle. That joke's getting pretty old, but I'm still going to use it either way. This bear will make his way onto land. Down south, there's a dog just for scouting purposes. This bear will get a nice scout off. He could plant himself on the expansion port, preventing it from being deployed there. We have a dog here in the shade of the palm tree. It's his vacation. Don't interrupt him. Now we've got quite a large number of conscripts advancing forward. Great bomb slopes there, and he does clean up the dog. Molotov's gonna be deployed out in the garrison, trying to flush it out. We got Crowdcopter now deployed now, trying to slow down the conscripts. We got at least a good number of conscripts there. It does fan out the garrison, getting some damage onto them. And now here comes the bear. It does get inside the garrison and gets wiped out. More bombs are raining on in, getting some good hits there. And it does get only one conscript inside the garrison. You have these bullfrogs circling around, trying to engage these crowdcopters. Looks like there's actually 2 peacekeeper or conscripts inside the garrison. It'll take a bit of time for him to clean up the Oil Derrick, so he has plenty of time to respawn. And now we do have these crowdcopters advancing forward. We do got a good number of bullfrogs in the region, however. Let's get some shrinks there, because there's too many bullfrogs for them to stick around and try to freeze them now. Let's get some good damage there. Out south, we got the bear still. And so actually still got a bear at this garrison as well. He's going to try to freeze the garrison. Let's get out of the garrison as well. Trying to avoid fire. He needs to force fire attack the garrison just to make sure it stays frozen. And he does go and destroy the garrison as well. And the bear does catch a couple bombs as well. Not a cold, just some bombs. Power plant and refinery has been deployed on out, getting another expansion point there. The Soviet player has backed out to C. AGS is expansion point out and going. Do you have a C super reactor as well? Now the crowdcopters advance forward should be able to quickly freeze down the orc with no problem, but there's a good number of defensive bullfrogs. We got a dog still up at sea. The bear is still up north. That bear is camping the expansion point, but may not actually be covered in stopping it. Bullfrog super shrunken there. He may try to freeze it down. There's a little bit too much fire there. May not have enough time to deal with that ore collector. He did not pursue the crowdcopter either. He potentially could have pursued it and actually killed it off. The shrunken state makes it pretty easy to pursue forces. And yep, looks like all the crowdcopters will manage to stay alive, severely wounded, but alive. Oh wait, that is an engineer. Inside a shrunken Riptide or multi-gunner IV, and does get ran over by the ore collector. We will need to redeploy that out. He is going to redeploy it out. If he has a crusher crane, he can crush the ore collector for a pretty good cash rebate. And that is another engineer multi-gunner IFVs. Does go ahead and deploy it out, trying to go for more cheeky captures. And he does sell that one off the last moment, killing up the engineer. Oh, so that's what they mean by the engineer is lost in the process. I don't think they actually mean it like that, though. Got another Tesla core being pulled on out, trying to defend this expansion point. The ore collector is seeing quite a bit of fire there. And there goes Riptide. Good number of hammer tanks out in the field. Got some multi-gunner IFVs in this region. And looks like these cryocopters are seeing a bit of fire there. Getting some repairs now. Something got shattered. I think it was a bear. Could have been a conscript. Just see frozen bits of meat. Perfect to keep in the freezer. And now this ore collector is seeing quite a bit of fire. He's going to get tasked back on the line. And the multi-gunner IV does see quite a bit of fire there from the hammer tank. Multi-gunner IV does go down over here. Looks like a bear got killed off. That may have been... I don't know why. That may have been paradropped in by a bullfrog. That's going to try to leash down the multi-gunner IV. The bears do charge for it. Not going to be very effective. Desolator Strike, however, was a good reason why he used those bears to charge forward to get some roars off. Marking them, slowing them down in order to receive a bunch of corrosive toxins on top of their head. So he does melt one of his own conscripts there. Some hammer tanks are being frozen. I hear some bullfrogs getting some shots off on some cryocopters likely. These forces are sort of being warded away by the toxic corrosion. And none of these hammer tanks do get shrunk down. Guardian tanks advancing forward. Bullfrogs are trying to ward away those cryocopters, but there's so many guardian tanks here. The hammer tanks are getting shrunken. They can't do much with those guardian tanks when they're shrunken down. Looks like he does get a pretty good cash bounty there. And one that does get picked off. He does have a dual wielding guardian tank right there.
Who's looking for a good pounding?
Gonna get coming for a bombing run. Got multiple of these guardian tanks going down. Getting some dual wielding hammer tanks here and there. With the amount of extra guns he has, he may just want to switch over to Delp and non-leech mode and start firing away. Now got a master shrink right there. Bullfrogs have trouble warding away those cryocopters. Guardian tank, what remain of the allied force, could pursue these forces. So there's still a couple hammer tanks here. Both of them, well, one of them's dual wielding, the other ones are not. There's no flak tower in this region. Let's take out that ore collector in no time whatsoever. So when the Apollos do get shot down there. And it looks like another Apollo does get shot down as well.
Someone call for transport?
Does go ahead and shrink down that Riptide. I'm not sure what's loaded in the back of it. Could be another engineer, since he has done some engineer play like that earlier today, or earlier this game. And there is a hammer tank loaded up in the back of that twin blade for some odd reason. Got some handful of cryocopters here as well. He may need to get out some MiGs for anti-aircraft support. So he does have some bullfrogs trying to escort the hammer tank with the bullfrogs. I'm not sure why there's a pair of twin blade carrying a hammer tank here. Oh, And he's going to deposit her straight into the refinery line. That's why he deployed, have them deployed out on the twin blade there. Some good shots there on the prospector. Let's take it out. We got some guardian tanks here, as well as looks like the twin blade's going on down. All the bullfrogs do get shrunken, make their way back out. Let's see. Do have a good number of Tesla troopers now out in the field, which should be very effective for those guardian tanks, that's for sure. Peacekeepers will be a bit of a problem for them, as well as the cryo shot, cryo blast, cryo get-in, and the cryocopters. Anything isolated. Then again, what is not effective when you're using ice? That is a good number of Tesla troopers there. So that's 7 there. That's quite a bit of a number. The large number of the hammer tanks are getting shrunken. Tesla troopers cannot be shrunken because they're infantry, not vehicles. He's going to go ahead and quickly freeze down these ore collectors as well. Bullfrogs do make their way back out at sea. And Desolator strike there, but there's currently nothing on that refinery line. The prospector has already been pulled off. Looks like these guarding tanks do get shrunken, trying to reposition them quickly, perhaps trying to push forward in the center or eyeing for a defense. There's a good number of guardian tanks here. But Tesla troopers should be very effective, and I'm pretty sure Tesla troopers cannot be crushed by guardian tanks. Got some good shots there on those Apollos thanks to the bullfrogs. Trying to push on forward, he's going to go for that twin blade. It does not even get the twin blade there. There are some javelin troops here. Cryocopters are shrinking down some of the bullfrogs, but the javelin troops all he needed at that point in time. Oop, looks like a terror drone came out and ate those javelin troopers there, though he's a little bit wounded now. Both sides are setting up for a massive engagement. We got a crusher crane on the front line as well. Somebody got deployed out. He's going for a battle lab. Ooh. He's probably going to go for V4s in order for artillery war. And likely his opponent, I see tier 2. Now tier 1s. The MCB is packed on up. I think he's going to go over max clearance relatively soon. Thank you for the YouTube subscriber. Or nope, that's Twitch follow. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Now finally pulled up on Twitch. Thank you, Lays Bear EU, for following on Twitch. Let's shrink down the bullfrogs there. Got now a terror drone popped out. Terror drone surprise. Multiple of those twin blades going down, and the indicators clean up the rest of those bullfrogs. Bear does get a bit of a roar there. Takes up the Peacekeeper there. Both bears remain but frozen. They're not polar bears, they're just regular bears. And we do have a massive gauge pushing on forward. There's likely going to be a massive cryo get in the start of this fight, maybe in the middle of the fight. Oh, that's Desolator airstrike now coming on in. No, that's satellites. Let's sell out the multi-gunner IFV. Infantry forces advancing forward. Cryo get in and Desolator airstrikes should both be ready. The ammo tanks getting some good hits there on the construction yard. Tesla troopers are advancing forward as well, doing some great damage onto those guardian tanks. Needs to use an EM field. There is a massive cryo again right there. That's going to be very devastating. Tesla troopers getting some great damage on in. Got some peacekeepers flying out. That should be effective versus peacekeepers. Got a frozen electrocuted corpse right there. And do have Desolator strike there, taking out a number of those infantry forces for the allied flare. The guardian tank's going to push the way forward and crush everything that remains. We got a terror drone here, needs to focus that one down. There's a good number of Guardian tanks there, and there's nothing really much in defense. A handful of hammer tanks, not a whole lot. And he's going to start leeching down some of these Guardian tanks. He needs to get them extra guns if possible. Focus on the wounded ones. Tesla troops are flooding out, getting lasted by one of the Guardian tanks. He got some wall segments trying to save his Crusher Crane, but he was not successful. Tesla troops are pushing way forward. They got a number of hammer tanks there. They probably be reshrunken. They do get reshrunken. The one that's not shrunken down does have a second gun. That's the cryocopters are getting warded away. Thanks to Bullfrogs. Got another Terror drone infecting the Guardian tanks. This one's the one that was lasing stuff. Fully heroic Tesla trooper there. Does get shot up by those Guardian tanks there. Tesla trooper needs to start focusing down some of these guys. Has a long wind up their shots there. More Terror drones pushing way forward. Looks like no guys are currently affected. Now the Tesla trooper's making way forward. These are good hits there, snaring down some of these heroic Guardian tanks. Battle Lab, so it's playing help, does get infect there, and does get double infect. In the various forces, some veterans see, but both sides have lost quite a bit in that engagement. We do have, looks like a multi-gunner turret deployed or queued up, ready to go. And he does deploy the multi-gunner turret there. He could throw the Peacekeeper in there. Got a good number of Terror drones. Hammer tank with an extra gun. And looks like the multi-gunner turret's not exactly great versus Tesla troopers. Up north, looks like a Bullfrog being struck down by the cryocopters. And you've got more Peacekeepers and more Javelin troops being deployed on out. A lot of explosions here, that's for sure. That Battle Lab, the Battle Lab's still up, so we could see some V4s. In fact, we haven't seen a whole lot utilizing that Battle Lab, have we? Let's see now. Do got looks like a pair of Apollos, indicator flying about. One cryocopters, 3 cryocopters, quite a bit. Able to lock down, of course, 3 vehicles. There's a good number of Bullfrogs here. 2 of them are elite. Soviet player could try advancing forward. He has a pretty good army, but maybe he's not sure how much army his opponent has. The Soviet player does have 4 expansions, trying to go for a 5th one now. The Allied player only has 3. This one has not been touched with a single ore collected. And it looks like this Navy Yard will go down. The Bullfrogs are trying to push this way forward. Hitting the Vindicator. The Vindicator forcing that back prevents them from actually completing the bombing run. Things can take time to get unthawed out. So hitting the Vindicator was a good idea. Oh, looks like something got put out there. Could have been a bunch of Javelin troops. V4s are firing away as well. Oh, whatever's inside of that only gets wiped out. Does get us infected on the Prospector. Multiple Bullfrogs getting frozen, destroyed there. Very, very close timing right there. Now we've got a couple Terror drones here. This one will get infected. The other one is going to snare it, preventing it from going to the airfield for repairs. We've got Desolator Strike on this one here as well, and he will get the infect there and the snare. Now Prospector is good as dead. Does bomb the Terror drone there, but this one will finish off the Prospector. He is lacking Bullfrogs in his force right now, which means he's very susceptible to those cryocopters. In fact, there's not a single Bullfrog, nor Flak Trooper. There's a Bullfrog now, but these cryocopters can freeze down, completely neutering some of these forces. Does put out a engineer there. It's actually a bit wounded. Did he sell his MCV? The MCV's still alive. Captures observation post to observe his enemy. Does spot the V4s. One V4 is firing. It is a cluster warhead. Does fire a crowd cannon right there. Getting some good freezes there. Forces opponent not being able to retreat. Cluster warhead coming forward. Freeze on some zone forces. The cluster warhead does largely miss there. The Tesla troopers need to start advancing forward. Got a good number of kills there. Got Terror being fighting one of the forces.
We are not so friendly.
This hammer tank needs to get off of HP mode to start charging forward with his double guns. This hammer tank does not have extra gun there, and now just get focused down. Bear charging forward needs to get a roar off. Does get a roar off there. He needs to perhaps go for a Desolator or Strike. Hammer tank getting some great crushes there. Bear trying to be frozen. Hammer tank trying to be frozen. Got a couple Guardian tanks remaining. One of them fully heroic. They're both managed to stay alive. The heroic one is severely wounded, but he will automatically repair. More hammer tanks been pointed out. Does have a single bullfrog, a pair of bears, and two hammer tanks now. Does he have an MCV? He may not actually have an MCV for deploying out. Oh, there's the MCV. It's shrunk it down now. I was going to say he doesn't have any MCV for protocols, but he does actually have an MCV there. And he almost got crushed by a Guardian tank there. He needs to get that MCV out of there. Does destroy his own terror drone that was affecting one of those Guardian tanks there. And he's going to go for another string on the MCV. He can't use the MCV for crushing his opponent. Hammer tanks are getting killed off one at a time. I think this made the Allies' game because he's just leading off hammer tanks at this point in time. Can't deal with these forces. He can't focus on the most wounded one because it's a fully heroic, so it's getting some health regen. Bear charging forward, does get a roar off there, only stunning a single javelin troop there. Charging forward, does get the kill there on the heroic peacekeeper, and does get some good kills there. The bears are getting some good hits in, but still has a good number of now two heroic Guardian tanks here, and one javelin troop helping break some wall segments. Both those forces does get shrunk down right there, and now the warpack is under siege. Over here, we got some bullfrogs and a dreadnought that's fully heroic. It's doing some good work in there. The dreadnought needs to start making its way over at sea. Red still has a bit of an expansion post here. He's going to just try to collect as much ore here. Selling off refineries are not exactly very good. Like selling like for 500 credits, you may just get a couple more loads and refine from the end. But at this point in time, since it's frozen, might as well sell it off. Does have his MCV over here with a airfield, which passes will have some MiGs and twin blades, though that would be a bit expensive, and his economy is of course shrinking. Though both of these ore refineries are depleted. Dreadnought now firing as well. He is fully heroic, so can use some sacrificial launchers in order, and then use his health regen to repair that up later. He's fighting against cryocopters. It's either you're alive or dead, so sacrificial launchers actually, it's generally a good idea at this moment, I would say. Let's get the war armor facility there, but we do have these Riptides advancing forward. Got some torpedoes hit there on the dreadnoughts as well. It does shrink the dreadnought. The dreadnought will likely go down. And the bullfrogs are not hitting these cryocopters. It's doing a poor job of escorting the dreadnought. He needed that dreadnought alive. Loser redeploys MCV. Still has an oil derrick here for income, so he's not completely dead in the water, just mostly dead in the water. Guardian tank's pushing way forward. Does have a pair of twin blades here. Soviet player still has 2 refineries refining. Someone only has 4,000 credits remaining though, so not a lot. Getting a crusher crane, probably for repairs, and to crush the ore collector. That will going for our ore crusher crane now, and crushing the ore collector will basically pay for itself. Got some very forces on the ground, including a hammer tank. Large wave of bullfrogs, that's for sure. Focusing on the ore refinery, and that is a massive loss for the allied player. Boy out per command hub. Let's see how much money the allied player has
Construction
remaining.
vehicle at your service.
Good, that's 1,200. That's not enough. He needs to sell off. He still has a power plant. We need 2,500 or just 2,000 for the refinery. I forget the top of my head. It is just 2,000. Oh, he's spending on something. He's going for a Vindicator. He could have sold off the airfield for about 500 credits and a bunch of wall segments in order to get out an ore refinery, but maybe he doesn't want to go for that. Maybe he doesn't believe he can keep it alive. This refinery expansion location has gone down. The Soviet player has income, not a lot at the moment, but has a source of income. So the longer the game goes on, the more in favor it is for the Soviets. These expansion points are depleted. That's not great. He may want to eye for this expansion here. He may have just sold his the MCV shrunk it down right there. Finds the power plant, though, floating with low power. Maybe not. The MCV does provide power itself. He's starting to push his way forward. Got a good number of MiGs, taking out the air forces. And now the Soviet player has full air superiority. He has a pressure crane, has an airfield. Riptides are trying to make their way out to sea. There's not anything left to engage these Riptides. Let's redeploy his MCV. Needs a twin blade push forward. He has an angle to engage there. Target deployed on 4, freezing down the airfield. Got another one more twin blade deployed on now. Does sell off his MCV there. No, it was cash bounty when it got destroyed. So that's a crusher crane. Crusher crane could be focused down. Does destroy it there with the Riptides. And also got all the MiGs on the deck, but he's out. No more airfield on the field, so there's no cryocopters either. So losing the MiGs is actually not a huge issue. Airfield is much more important at that moment in time. And oh, the game just ended. I think the Allied player surrendered because the Soviet player was definitely in a better position at that moment in time. The Allied player had nothing left, nothing to deal with the contested air forces, and the twin blades were just able to rip apart the rest of those ground forces, given enough time. So I'm going to give the win to the Soviet players. Either way, this is Anagrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. And again, somehow my other screen went crazy and starts blowing up other screens. I don't know why. We got that fixed. So, got a handful more replays left for today, so let's go ahead and get them started.